Welcome to the Freedom Real Estate Podcast with your boy, Andrew Freed. I got Jessie Dillon here. Actually, Jessie did a huge favor for me back in the day. She ended up getting me on the Bigger Pockets Rookie Podcast. When I hosted the Worcester meetup, she was a guest speaker at that time, and I mentioned her. It's always been a dream to get on the Bigger Pockets podcast. So she went out of her way to introduce me to the producers. That podcast literally launched my career. So I'm incredibly grateful, Jessie. Thank you very much. I'm excited to have her. She is honestly a mover and shaker in the real estate business. She's been making moves in Massachusetts and making waves for many, many years. We're going to be hearing all about it. Stick around, stay tuned. It's going to be a blast. So Jessie, bring me back to your origin story. Like, what got you into entrepreneurship and what got you into kind of wanting to create your own destiny versus being a W-2 worker, like many of our audience out there?
Okay, so I was actually just telling this story because I did the Medway High School career day on Wednesday.
Okay,
so
that's
I
cool.
told the story 4 times Wednesday morning. And back in 2017, I was working for Sephora, a big box beauty retailer.
Okay.
And I loved it. Like, I was obsessed with working for Sephora. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, I want to work here for the rest of my life.
Okay.
And I was an education manager, which was fun. Like, I taught other employees how to apply makeup, how to sell makeup, how to build skincare routines, that type of thing. And I kept going for the same promotion, though. And it wasn't a stretch. It was the next step up.
Sure.
And I met every metric. I met every goal. I worked off the clock. I brought my own supplies in. I did everything. I did special projects, but I never got the promotion. And I tried 3 times. And finally, it came out one day that someone maybe 4 or 5 steps above me, who I met once, felt like my voice made me hard to read. I was too monotone. And that's why I wasn't getting it. And I was totally rocked by that. I can't really change that, right? And it's funny now that since I got into real estate, I've done so many podcast interviews, so I've gotten so comfortable with my voice. But at that time, that actually really made me kind of insecure about it. But I was like, I'll be damned if I'm doing everything. I'm going so above and beyond and it doesn't matter. I need to be in control of my own success. Obviously, I'm willing to do the extra work. So I need to be the only person who's controlling how far that gets me. And I was already doing lashes on my days off at a lash salon. So I was like, I'm just going to quit with no plan and no savings and just do lashes full time.
Okay. Wow.
So that actually kind of took off. And the owner of the lash studio I was working at, she offered to pay for me to get trained in permanent makeup. So I did that, and I just actually fell in love with the business side of things, social media marketing. And 2018 was my first full year in business for myself, and I made twice as much as I made at Sephora.
Wow.
And I really wasn't working anymore. I was probably working less.
Wow.
But still made twice as much. So then I kind of had the bug with entrepreneurship, and I was like, I don't mind being an employee at all, but I certainly would never put all my eggs in that basket.
So you had the epiphany that rather than put your destiny in somebody else's hand, in that particular case, somebody who didn't want to promote you because of your voice, you had no control over, you're like, I'm going to take this in my own hands and actually start a business myself.
And I think I was blessed in a way that I was used to what felt like minimum wage and having no savings and being paycheck to paycheck. The fall was not that far.
Yeah.
Whereas I talk to a lot of people, especially I mentor in the Wire community.
Okay.
I co-host the beginner cohort, and a lot of people I talk to within that community who are having trouble getting started or just making that big scary first step, they have golden handcuffs with a really high paying W-2 job. So there's really no potential pain if they don't take action. They'll still just keep getting their great paycheck. But I was used to a kind of shitty paycheck. So I was like, if this doesn't work, I can just easily get another job that pays nearly minimum wage.
Yeah. I mean, and just going back to the golden handcuffs when it comes to a W-2 job, it's I think people fail to forget. It's we could always get another W-2 job, right? It's it's not that hard to get another W-2 job. What if you quit, you try this real estate thing, you try being an entrepreneur, doesn't work itself out in 3, 4, 5 months, get another job, right? So I think that's a really good point. So, Jessie, you own 3 businesses at this point, right?
I would say 2, like just the salon business and the real estate business, but I feel like now there are many arms of the real estate business. So I don't know how you want to classify that. I would still say 2.
Yeah, I mean, more or less, you are a jack of all trades. Since I've known you over 3, 4, 5 years ago in real estate, you've done a little bit of everything, right? You've done wholesaling, you've done short-term rentals, you've done house hacking, you've done out-of-state investing, you've done multifamily investing, you've done a little seller finance too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Done a little bit of everything. So now that you've tried now that you've tasted a bunch of flavors in real estate, did you kind of decide on one asset class or kind of what's the path moving forward for you?
So I've always been an advocate of beginning with the end in mind, right?
Okay.
And for me, that's a certain amount of cash flow every month with more of a hands-off business. So I kind of set out to get 50 value-add multifamily units in partnerships.
Okay.
When I did finally transition to partnerships, that was my big goal, because I was like, if I can do that, then by the time everything's really optimized, even if we take a slow and steady approach, I will be at my cash flow goal. But I met that goal this past summer.
Okay.
And then I realized, okay, well, I really began with the end in mind, because now I got there, but now what? Like, what happens between now and when all these properties are really optimized? So now I actually kind of pivoted back to more instant gratification type deals. So next week I'm actually closing on a vacation rental. So I'm going back and I want to do a couple vacation rentals. And I actually feel really excited about that, even though more active work really wasn't in line with my ultimate long-term goals. I really am excited about balancing things out more, because I feel like my portfolio is very delayed gratification heavy, and I want to kind of balance that out.
Yeah, when it comes to financial freedom, passive income is very important, right? But to get passive income, especially the amount you need to be financially free, you need a good amount of active income, right? And value add properties are fantastic because you create so much equity, but they take time to ferment, like a good wine, right?
Yeah.
And they really take time to profit, right? And like a lot of my deals that I bought 1 year, 2 years ago are starting to cash flow now, right? But they take time to really kick in. So it sounds like in the interim, you're really kind of leading into more active type real estate endeavors, right?
Yeah, and beyond just short-term rentals, like this coming year, I have a goal to do my first flip. I think it's it's funny to feel so much like a newbie when it comes to looking for a flip, because I've been in real estate for a little bit now. I've done a lot in real estate, but in that arena, I feel like very green. So that's just kind of a funny experience. And as we said earlier, before we started, I am getting my real estate license.
There you
go.
go.
I am kind of layering in different types of more active income now.
Totally. So I have done some flips, and I can give you some best practices on how to do flips if you would like.
I would love that.
So my first tip when it comes to doing a flip is you really have to be super conservative with your numbers, right? Like if you think the ARV is 600, you should be underwriting the ARV at $550,000, right? You think your renovation budget is 100, you should be building in a 20 to 30% contingency on top, right? Like ultimately, I think the fact of the matter when it comes to flips is things will go wrong. And the only way you're really going to mitigate that is you have padding in your underwriting and you have padding in your budget, right? I think that's number one. Number two, which I didn't even really truly understand this until I actually experienced this, the transaction costs in flipping eat you alive, right? You really got to think about it. On the buy, you're doing 10, 15 grand closing costs, you're paying 4% to agents, right? And then on the sell side, you're doing the exact same thing, right? Like that's like 10, 15% right off the top, combined with holding onto the asset for 6, 7, 8 months of holding costs with a lot of times very little revenue. Like you really need a large delta, right? So I think that's some of my tips. My other tip, especially in our market, would be to avoid condos and singles and try to stick with value add multifamily. Those sell like hotcakes no matter what market cycle there is. And I can tell you right now, condos and single families are sitting a lot longer on the market.
Interesting. Yeah, I never would have gone for a condo. I feel like I'm a big condo hater. But I was kind of open to like 1 to 4 units for my first flip. I feel like 4 might be kind of insane, but I also feel like it's kind of all the same shit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's always house hackers out there. And then I actually like duplexes because with duplexes you can get a little bit of the multifamily buyer, but you can also get single family buyers who are willing to take on maybe one tenant, but also pay retail prices, not really be concerned about the numbers because they're more single family buyers.
Yeah.
So Jessie, take us back to the beginning. What was the moment that you actually stopped over preparing and started taking action on some of your entrepreneurial endeavors?
Well, for real estate in particular, that was in fall 2021.
Okay.
So 4 years ago. And the moment was where everything sounded the same. I think it was actually like I had binged podcasts. Like I found a couple that I didn't feel completely over my head, and I would literally listen to them like all day at the salon. Whenever I was driving, like doing laundry, anything around the house, like I was really putting in the hours. I was reading the books. And then I did the BP rookie boot camp.
Okay.
And it was a great course, like for somebody who hadn't done all of that work beforehand. But everything in the boot camp was the same as what I already heard on the podcasts and read in the books. So that kind of gave me the confidence and like confirmation that, okay, I know enough to just get a messy start and then like finish building the plane while I'm flying it. So that's when I actually stopped consuming content for a while and was just actually taking action, like time to actually write offers.
Yeah. No, that's a really, really good tip. It's like doing research, and studying what you're planning on investing is extremely important. You should absolutely do that. But at a certain point, you can only consume so much content. And at a certain point, enough to take action, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the real difference between somebody like you and me and somebody who's, was interested in investing in real estate but took no action. In 4 years, they just got stuck in analysis paralysis, is you and I skew towards action. So, bring us back to your first deal. What was that first deal that you actually landed? And what were the details? What were the numbers? Just give us the story.
That first deal, I started making offers Thanksgiving weekend that year. I think that's the weekend I got under contract. And the property was listed for $410. It's a 2-family in Whitensville. And I got it under contract for $357.5.
Okay.
And at that time, you weren't getting anything for less than what it was listed at. But it was on market for 40 days. And I think it fell out of contract and then came back. And that kind of scared people. And it's not your standard 2-family because it lives more like a pretty big single family with a big 2-story addition on the back. That's a whole nother unit. So it's just like not an investor's bread and butter duplex. So yeah, I think it just was like a unique property, but I explained in detail why $357.5. I think I originally offered $350. And I went straight to the listing agent and I really built rapport with her. I think that helped a lot. But then it appraised for $420. So because I got it so far under appraisal, I got to put down just 10%. And I actually, like 6 months later, did a cash out refi and recouped like another $11,000 that I got back. So I didn't have a whole lot of money left in that deal. Today, it's worth like something like $545 to $565 is our estimate. And I actually am thinking about selling it, which is crazy. I never thought I would.
Okay, and it's cash flowing right now?
Yeah, it cash flows really well, actually. It did not when I first bought it. Like when I first got it I don't think cash flowed at all. Like it was break even.
Totally.
But I knew that I could get it to a place where it was cash flowing within like a year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you bring up a good point where it's like a lot of times when you and I underwrite deals, we never underwrite based off what the current revenue is. We underwrite based off what our future business plan is, right? Because ultimately, if we underwrote based off what the current numbers is, nothing would ever make sense. We would buy no deals. So while you were studying real estate, you had your full-time hair salon or?
Yeah, so it's a permanent makeup studio. So we tattoo brows, lips, eyeliner. I have 2 girls who rent space for me there, and I work in the business about 2 days a week still.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was working in the business a little more often at that time, and I just have been forced to scale back a little bit just because like real estate doesn't demand too much time from me outside of there, but it's easy to get a little overwhelmed between both businesses.
So it started off as a side hustle, right? More or
Mm.
less on top of your business. So when did you start treating real estate less like a side hustle and more like a business? And what sort of strategies did you employ to make that happen?
I think I went into it with the mindset of like, this is my retirement plan. Like this is my way out of active work one day, someday, you know?
Okay.
Because like really no one in the beauty industry, I think, is talking about a retirement plan. Like there's no plan. No one has a plan. So that was my strategy, was real estate. And once I got that first property though, like I just caught the bug. Like I was like, I want to keep doing this. And I bought 2 other properties within the first like 8 months, I think.
Wow.
And I think I started treating it like a business when I was looking for the second property.
And that's when you started employing property management software. That's when you started maybe reading books on property management. Like what sort of systems did you employ to kind of more treat it like a business early on in your investing career?
Yeah, I was using Rent Ready from day one. Like
Okay.
before I even closed on that first property, I had a Rent Ready account ready to go. But I think like with the salon business, I had delegated, automated, offloaded, outsourced so much stuff. So right from the beginning with real estate, I was like, if this is repetitive, how can someone else do it? Or how can it be automated? So I never let my real estate business get to a messy, scrappy point. Just from day one, I was like, how can this be as easy as possible, as streamlined as possible?
Did you hire like a virtual assistant pretty early on?
So my VA, who I have for the salon business, she's been with me since 2018. I really
Okay.
can't even call her that. Like she's truly more like a remote executive assistant. She can do anything. She took on a little bit in the real estate business. It's really not where her passion lies. Like she doesn't love that work. So I haven't been able to offload as much as I want, but I think especially this year, as I get more into like more active work, I need to probably bring someone new on in addition to her.
Yeah, I absolutely love virtual assistants. A lot of times they're actually better workers than people in America at a third of the cost.
Yeah.
Right. So, and a lot of times the reason why they're so good is because like you are their best option. Like doctors in the Philippines make like $7 an hour and you're paying these people $8 an hour. You're paying them more than doctors. Right. So I can tell you right now, most of my highest retention employees are people who work in the Philippines.
Do you have do you use a specific website to find them, or like how do you find the best people?
I typically utilize onlinejobs.ph, which specifically targets people in the Philippines. I have tried other markets like South America. And with South America, I just feel like there's more cultural differences and it's challenging to keep people because ultimately a lot of them have multiple options. The Philippines, you are literally their best option. They are in the top earning bracket when they work for you overseas. So like I said, some of my best employees that I've had the longest are Philippine virtual assistants. I've tried virtual assistants in other demographics and it really hasn't worked out that well for me.
Yeah, I had tried an overseas VA once and it didn't really work out. I think cultural differences were the biggest thing, but maybe I also just wasn't offloading the right tasks to them.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is the thing that makes it challenging to keep people overseas is, in America, we go 1,000,000 miles an hour. We are workaholics.
Yeah.
You go anywhere else in the world, people operate at 50% of the speed, right? Life is a lot slower. Like work isn't everything. They're more about their family, which I get it. And I am at a certain point, but when I'm working, I'm freaking working. Right. And, I think sometimes people, especially in South America, they like to operate a little slower, a little at their own pace. Right. So it's definitely challenging, at least from my perspective, like having an American company trying to hire with those cultural differences.
Yeah. I wonder if that's also specifically more of a New England thing too, because I feel like even in other parts of the U.S., people do not work at the speed that I'm used to.
I'm sure you experienced that in Chicago. So she owns 50 units in Chicago, right?
46.
46, right?
Yeah.
And you have a third-party property manager, right? Like I personally experienced that with third-party property managers, but my property was in South Carolina. right? And like in New England, we like to operate quick. We like to get the rent increases out. We like to get our business plan moving. Like we like to get it done within 3 to 6 months. They do not like operating that quick. And as a result, we went through 3 PMs because they just said, you guys in the North move way too quick.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you experienced that investing in out of state.
Not with my management company. Like they're really great. I feel like I struck gold with them. But I would think like anywhere else in the Midwest or the South that's not a major city or like California, I would imagine people are just working slower.
Yeah, or
which that's I mean, good for them. That sounds like a beautiful life. It's just not like what I'm used to.
Yes. I mean, there's a time, there's a place.
Yeah.
Right. And when we're going on that financial freedom march, like that's not the time or the place. Right. We're getting shit done. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, going back to you investing out of state, how do you evaluate risk before deploying capital in markets that you might not be too familiar with?
That's a great question. I mean, I have like found a market that I like and stuck with it. I certainly would not be comfortable like just going with any deal that pencils anywhere in the country. You know what I mean? But I vetted Chicago from day one by talking to a bunch of different agents, talking to other investors that I know who live there, whether or not they also invest there or invest out of state themselves. Looking at the landlord-tenant ordinances, interviewing property management companies, looking at the job diversity, stuff like that. So, but ultimately, like, it came down to just a comfort level of me and one of my business partners, Melissa. That's who I bought the first deal with there. And we both just felt good about it. Like, we did the research, but we also just had intuitively good feelings about it.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say is I've been to Chicago. It is very similar to the Boston area, like culturally, even look-wise, the way the buildings are structured. So even I think it's old mill city too, so they'll have a lot of the same sort of multi-families. So I mean, and honestly, it has a lot of good economics behind it, right? So yeah, I can totally see why you invest in Chicago. So when it comes to investing in some of these larger deals, what deal filters or rules do you live by now that you didn't live by early on?
I mean, now I wouldn't love getting into another boiler building, like where we are locked into paying heat and hot water for the whole building. Don't love that.
You still do that right now?
I do have one boiler building, yeah.
I own 500 units and I don't pay for any of it.
There are a lot in Chicago, like especially in the areas that I operate in. There's a lot. But like a quick filter for me, I mean, at this point, I'm not actively looking there anymore because I'm pivoting away from just long-term rentals. But I wouldn't look at something where the pro forma rents are not at least 1.5% of the purchase price. And if it's a boiler building, it has to be more like 2% rule. And that's for pro forma rents, not current rents.
Of course. Hey, market rents. That's absolutely correct. Typically all of my business plan encompasses me separating the heat, right? It could be me installing separate boilers. A lot of times it involves me doing heat pumps, which is a very cheap fix. I literally just did that on 11 unit in Hudson. We bought it, shared boiler. I think we got in and out of 11 heat pumps for like 60, 70 grand after rebates. Right. And it increased our NOI by, I don't know, probably like $6,000 a month.
Yeah. That's a pretty big
Which,
difference.
I mean, if you base that off of if you reverse engineer the value, that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars in value. Can you share a deal or business challenge that forced you to level up?
I can. So I actually sold a property creatively.
Okay.
I don't think I would ever do that again. So
Did you make money?
It should.
It should.
It should. A little too soon to tell. I was planning on getting a balloon payment this coming spring.
Okay.
And I had big plans for that balloon payment. Like I had my business plans for 2026 mapped out based on that. And unfortunately, I think there were technicalities where I'm not getting it after all.
Ooh.
So I won't go too into that, but I had to rework my whole plan for next year. because without that balloon payment, I couldn't do what I was setting out to do.
So you sold the property.
Mhm.
You did a mortgage wrap or something where they took over your first payment, then gave you like a second lien for your equity.
Correct. Yeah.
And then they were supposed to pay you out on your equity.
Mhm.
And you had all these plans for it.
Yeah.
And they did it.
Yeah. I am very much like a woman of my word. I don't care what is on paper. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I did it yesterday.
Totally.
And I am gathering that not everyone operates that way.
Mhm.
I also probably made some, oversights with the paperwork because I was just kind of in a rush to offload this property. So great lessons learned to just make sure, every single detail is in the paperwork and to not really just trust goodwill, But ultimately, yeah, I'm not getting that balloon payment this spring. So I had to rework my plan. Like I still wanted to do all the things I set out to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm getting my real estate license to make a little bit more money from that. Like, as we talked about, I've missed out on so much additional income doing transactions without that license. So that will help me make those goals that I set out to do. And I'm doing my first flip. That will also help. So yeah, we're making it happen in other ways. And I might, like I said, I might even sell that very first property that I ever bought to really lock in, achieving these things. I want to do a couple new house hacks this summer. I want to do one for myself, one for my daughter because she's graduating high school. So that's like the main goal.
Nice. Sounds like you may have a 1031 in your future too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want the stress of that though. I think I might do the lazy 1031, like just sell, buy, figure it out later.
1031s are not stressful.
I don't know if you experience stress.
You need to
Have you ever thought about that?
I do experience stress, but I overplan to avoid stress.
Okay, that's
right.
fair.
Like if I lock up a property that I'm going to buy for 120 days with it, then I have 120 days to find a seller that I'm going to sell my property on my 1031 into.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You could also do what's called a reverse 1031, where you could buy the property, identify the property you're going to sell, and transfer it into. And you can always get a bridge loan in the interim to support you until your 1031 goes through. Right. There's a million ways to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Right. And I think if you organize the pieces in the right manner, it's very easy to coordinate a 1031, especially with larger properties where the seller is sophisticated enough where 90% of the time they're going to be doing a 1031.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're going to be doing a 1031, you're allowing them additional time to facilitate that. They, as reciprocity, they're going to allow you the time.
Yeah, that is a good point, especially because I would be going for multifamilies, obviously. So yeah, I would think they'd be a little more flexible.
You should, and that's how I approach a lot of these sellers. I go to them and be like, I understand you are a super smart person. You are super sophisticated. Obviously, you're going to 1031 this. They're like, yeah, of course I'm going to, right? Mm-hmm. All right, then. Why don't I give you 90 to 120 days to help facilitate that for you, right? And they're like, oh, you're so great. Thank you so much. Little did they know, I need the time so I could 1031 one of my properties into their property, right? So you got to be strategic with how you approach it.
Yeah. I know. I think I'm just intimidated by having to learn another whole process while I'm doing all this other new stuff at once. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think the truth of the matter is you don't, right? You simply have to find somebody who does know the process in and out, right? You can find a 1031 specialist who's been in the game for 30, 40, 50 years, jump on a 30-minute call with them. They can tell you all these best practices like that. That's literally 40 years worth of experience in a 30-minute call, right? You think I learned this stuff instantly? I literally spoke with 1031 specialists. They told me what other people did, and I employed them. I employed those same exact strategies.
I know. Yeah, I should do that. I totally let myself off the hook with it and was like, I'll just, sell them, buy them, figure it out later. But you're right. I should just bite the bullet.
I think a lot of people buy real estate because they don't want to pay taxes, right? And people don't realize, just like this situation, just like anything in life, you could either play checkers or you could play chess, right? Do you want to play checkers where you're reactive to life? Or do you want to play chess where you're proactive to life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quick example of that would be, say for example, I know I'm going to have $1 million liability in 2026, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know in advance I need to buy a certain amount of property to give me the depreciation to offset that $1 million. That might amount to $5 million of real estate that I intentionally buy over that year,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's intentional way to avoid taxes over a year. The unintentional way, the way normal people do it, is they'll wait till October, be like, oh crap, I got this $1 million tax liability. Let me go out there 1031 to the shittiest property available and not pay that taxes and have a crappy asset on my hands. Right.
Yeah.
So I think like those are the major differences between a smart investor and a not smart investor.
Yeah, actually, as me and one of my partners were looking for this STR that we're supposed to close on next week, we realized it's kind of like a crappy time to buy an STR or something that's already operating as an STR, because there are so many people who are scrambling to buy something and have it in use before the end of the year, so they can, do whatever for taxes, specifically with short-term rentals. So there was one property we were looking at that I forget what it was listed at, but it was probably a good like 100,000 or more over what the agent thought it was truly worth. And he was like, truthfully, like someone is going to pay this because of the time of year. If this was being sold in February, there's absolutely no way. Like it would not be listed for 825. It'd be listed for 725, 700.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, to your point, like you're going to overpay if you're buying things at the last minute to avoid tax liabilities, for sure. 100%.
So one thing I was actually curious about, how do you go about your day? Like, when do you wake up? What do you do first? How many hours do you spend on your business versus your real estate? And in general, how many hours per day do you normally work versus like, personal stuff versus family versus relaxation?
That's a great question. It's a little bit different every day. So Mondays are kind of like an office day for me. I go to yoga at night, but otherwise I just chip away at like office work throughout the day from home.
Gotcha.
I do not believe in waking up early. I hate waking up early. I try and have as many no alarm days as possible each week, and I'll naturally wake up at probably like 8:30 and get out of bed at like 9:30. So then I just kind of like do work as I feel like doing it, honestly. I'll plan out on Sundays everything I have to get done for office work that week, and I'll just start the things that are really non-negotiable, time sensitive, other people relying on me, or things that are going to directly make me money. And things that I would like to get done but really don't have to get done could push to next week, so I'll do those last. Tuesdays, I usually same thing, have an office day and then yoga at night. Wednesday, Thursday, I take clients in the beauty business and then yoga at night. Fridays, I go to yoga in the morning, and then I'll do like personal appointments and just wrap up any office work that I didn't get to. Saturday, Sunday, I try not to work. I'll like do emails as needed, and I'll work in the salon one Saturday a month.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you find that you work more or less hours as your business grows or as you gain more employees, or do you try to automate yourself out of things?
If I wasn't always chasing the next thing, I would barely work at all.
Gotcha.
Like I actually yesterday or the day before, I offloaded my last 2 tasks for the beauty business to my assistant Kayla. Those were the last 2 things that I owned on our org chart, and I passed those off. So I truly just like go in, do my clients, and then everything behind the scenes, like social media marketing, it's all her. Real estate, I know that this year I really do have to bring on another VA specifically for real estate, and then a lot of my work will be taken off my plate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then that frees you up to maybe chase new ventures, but these are things that are new to you versus the busy work in the past that you've already automated.
Yeah.
Very nice. And so as the year comes to a close, I'm curious, do you do any like end of the year review for what you did, setting goals for the next year, or do you basically look at opportunities as they come to you?
I'm very planned out. Like I'm very intentional. I definitely do not wait until the end of the year or the new year. Like usually every month or even more often than that, I'm looking at like what's not feeling good, what's clearly not working.
So you don't really do like end of the year goals or resolutions or anything like that?
I do, yeah, but I don't only focus on it on those times. Like I feel like it's
That's
so
smart.
easy to set a goal or make a plan in January and then forget about it, and then December comes and you don't
Yeah.
even remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll map out like what do I want to happen and what do I have to do to get there. I'll set like 3 very specific goals. Like for 2026, it's make a certain amount with my real estate license,
Mm-hmm.
do 1 flip that generates a certain amount, and then with and I want to do like a triplex or a quad that my daughter can live in because she's
Mhm.
graduating from high school this year.
Very nice.
So those are the 3 things that will make the biggest difference in my life. There's like going to be little accessory goals, the things I would like to happen, but if they don't happen, it's not a big deal.
Mhm.
If those 3 things happen, that will make the biggest impact. So then I work backwards and say, okay, what do I have to do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly
Mhm.
to make sure this happens? Kind of corny too, but I also like to make like a vision board with my 3 goals and have
Not
that be
corny
my
at
phone
all.
wallpaper. I did one year actually print it out, and it was like this gigantic like door-sized poster, and I had it in my room.
That's pretty cool.
But I like to have it at least as my phone wallpaper
Yeah.
and look at it, you know.
Well, no,
a
but that's
million times
smart
a day.
because that constantly realigns you. If you start to get distracted,
Mhm.
seeing it every day does make you
Yeah.
aware. I do something similar where I have a few minutes in the morning where I look at my yearly goals and I think,
Mhm.
okay, what's like the next 3 tasks I push the needle forward for those.
Mhm.
And if I go like a week without looking at that, I can like get really distracted with
Yeah.
things that might seem productive or might seem useful,
Mhm.
but don't contribute at all to the yearly goals. Therefore, get back on looking at them every day.
Yeah, I really
So it's
have like
powerful.
tunnel vision with
Mhm.
my 3 goals.
Good.
Like people will still send me deals in Chicago all the time, but because that's not in line with what I'm trying to do right now, like I don't even look at it. I
Yeah.
don't even open the email. I just delete it. I don't look at the text. Like I don't scroll Zillow. I never do. Like
Mhm.
I don't want to be distracted by anything that's not directly in line with what I'm trying to do.
Yep. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like the audience to help you with, or perhaps something that you can't get on your own, but we need to stretch in order to achieve? Like, for example, with the triplex or any of your other goals.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anyone local, I would love a bird dog to help me find my first flip.
There we go.
I would love something in Central Mass or like within 30 minutes of Hopedale. That would
Mhm.
be great.
We're getting quite an audience now. So if any of you wholesalers out there are looking for
Yep.
a partnership perhaps, or to pass on a deal,
hmm
definitely leverage the audience as well.
It's harder than I thought to find great wholesalers.
It is. I think it's because it's such a low entry point. It's
Mm.
like random high school kids without money think, oh, I'll just get into this real quick and then make my way up to investor, make my way up to like lender or something.
hmm
So it's like a very high turn
Yeah.
or high turnover rate, I should say, type of business where if you maybe like get a few deals and you get some money, you immediately become the investor, and then somebody else has to come in and like fill that niche.
Right.
And so to find a quality one is difficult, or you'll have like a big conglomerate, like for example, like, New Western, if you've heard of those guys. And you can say, oh yeah, here's my buy box, like this area, this amount. They're like, yeah, totally, like writing it down, and they just send you whatever's in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Like it's like out of state, does not fit your buy box at all. And they don't care because they're doing it on volume, not on bringing you a personal deal that matches you, building that relationship. So it is hard to find a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I could use help with. Like someone find me a flip.
All right, let's do it. Andrew's got plenty. If you want to partner up with him,
Yeah.
he's got money he can handle at the moment.
I've been looking on market for probably like 3 months, and I'm going to just completely stop because I'm paying a GC fee and everyone I'm competing with isn't paying one. So, pretty much
I feel
any
like that would
deal.
help you once you get one under contract, right? Once you
Well,
start
it's
working.
like I can't offer as much as anyone else. Like if there's a distressed property on market, so many other people who are GCs who don't have to pay another GC, like they're going to be able to write a better offer than me.
Gotcha.
Plus, like me and Andrew were talking about, I'm trying to pad the deals so much. Like I want to run the numbers so that I literally cannot screw up. Like I could screw everything up and I'll still at least break even.
Yeah, and that kind of like limits the number of deals that still pencil out with such margins, right?
Yeah. So I think I really have to find something off market. And that's another example of like, I tried one thing, it's not working. I really, gave it time and made the call of like, this is not working.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to do it anymore.
Gotcha.
I'm going to strictly just look off market. And that's kind of what we were talking about, like having tunnel vision and not like wasting time doing stuff that's not getting you closer to your goal.
Yeah. Have you tried mailers or have you tried any type of cold calling, like trying to find it yourself versus
I've
having other
done
people bring it?
mailers before.
I've gotten like 2 or 3 good deals off of mailers. It's
Yeah.
very random and hit or miss, but for like how cheap it is to send those out, can't hurt.
Yeah, I did mailers once and I actually got an amazing wholesale deal from them. Like I did a great wholesale deal. I feel like I don't know that I'll go down that road again because I feel like I can't do it at a volume that other flippers are doing it at.
I see.
So I don't know that I'll be the most successful in that arena.
Gotcha. For me, it helps if you have something like a niche or something that might be like off the beaten path. For example, for me, my specialty is condos. And so very few people go after condos.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of competition. And if you make it super niche, like look specifically for people that have paid it off, have a significantly lower valuation on their tax base versus what it costs now. And they're located out of state. So like their address is different from the address of the condo, but also different state.
Yeah.
And then that gives you a pretty small list that very, very few people actually target. And if you go for those, you get a much higher response rate than if you just blast out all condos everywhere across Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So if you have a specific project that you're looking for, like a triplex, and you use one of those skip trace softwares that can find you all the triplexes in a certain area and make, like, think of an avatar of the most ready to sell person who might not be targeted, then you might do a lot better with mailers or cold calling, etc.
Yeah.
Or you can also pay a VA to do it if you already have experience with training VAs. It doesn't cost that much extra money to say, hey, do these tasks every week, like, 10 numbers or 10 letters, etc.
Yeah.
That'd be something to try.
I know. I need to find a good VA first. That'll be like very early on in 2026, finding someone.
Gotcha. Very cool. What are you reading now? And is there anything that might not be like a commonly known book, like, everybody else knows, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but something that really had an impact on you or really taught you something?
That's a great question. I mean, I don't think this book's talked about in real estate a whole lot, but 4 Hour Work Week has always been one of my favorite books.
Yeah, that's a classic.
And what's the other one? The Negotiation one. Do you know what I'm talking about? Never
Is that-
Split the Difference.
Oh, yes, that's
Yeah.
about the high stakes CIA guy.
Yeah, he was like a
Yes.
hostage negotiator, and that one I thought was really cool. I was resistant to reading it because I read it in a book club, and I just was like, ugh, I don't feel like doing this. But I listened to it on Audible, and
Yeah.
I actually really, really liked it. I thought it was cool.
What did you take away from that for real estate?
Well, I listened to it when I was working for a creative wholesaling company. So like they had me listen to it. Because I was talking to a lot of sellers and basically like trying to come to an agreement on a price. And one of my favorite things from it was essentially just trying to get a seller, for example, to explain like how it was feasible for me to pay what they want. Like if they were insisting on a certain number, I would just be like, how can I do that? Like, how would you, if you were me, how would you make that work? Like, if I also have to, if it's only going to sell for this, and if I also have to pay this, like, these are my costs, and then I have to pay these people, like, do you have any ideas? Like, how I want to make that work? Like, how would you do it if you were me?
So you're putting them in your shoes to see, that's not a
just
reasonable
literally
number.
asking them, like, how can I do it? Tell me, like, if there's a way.
And how often would they say, oh, yeah, I guess it is kind of too high of a price, and negotiate against themselves?
Don't know that they've ever used that specific verbiage, but yeah, it does kind of like bring people back down to earth.
Interesting. That's a good tactic to try then.
Yeah.
Very cool.
There was a lot of cool things in there. It was a great book.
All right. Cool. In that case, that's, I believe, all the ones that I have. Let's do an outro. Do you have like a social media or any service that you want to promote or any kind of business that you want to bring traffic to?
Yeah, so if anyone wants to follow my real estate journey on Instagram, I'm Jessie Dillon with an underscore at the end. And in my link tree, there's a couple freebies in there. There's links to consulting and all that good stuff.
Tell me about the consulting. What did you do there?
So I do just one-on-one consulting.
Mhm.
People can go right on my Linktree and schedule an appointment, and it's a 1-hour Zoom. We can also do it in person.
Mhm.
But I'll often have people book who just are having trouble taking the next step, or they're having trouble picking a strategy.
Mhm. Is
I
this real
also have
estate specific, or
people
is this across businesses?
mostly real estate, but I have done a lot of consulting in like the salon space too.
Mm,
But now I feel like, what I'm most passionate about is helping people get going with real estate. So that's kind of what I attract.
very nice.
Yeah.
What's some of your most interesting clients or people that you were surprised to help out?
Not surprised, but my favorite one that I've ever had was a guy who worked for Google
Really?
and he was wanting to quit, but it was a golden handcuff situation.
Yeah, with the stock options
Um,
probably.
But he really wanted to quit, like, he just wanted to be work optional. He didn't wanna have to do it full time,
Mhm.
and, he already had one rental property, and his personal cost of living was really low.
Mhm.
I can't even understand how, because I think he also lived in New York. But,
What was his cost of living?
we I don't remember, but it was probably like a seventh of mine somehow, like, it was crazy low, and, so he didn't have that far to go
Mhm.
to be work optional. And we mapped out like all you have to do is do this and that, and
Mhm.
then you're done.
Yeah.
Like then you can quit.
You probably could just do like 3 rentals probably, and that's it.
Yeah. So he already had one. I think he only needed one more.
Mhm.
And I was like, when are you going to do this? There's an abundance of these deals. Like there's no shortage of the deals
Mhm.
within his buy box. And I was like, okay, so when are you going to quit? So we set a date together and I was like, I'm going to text you on that day. And he wanted to wait, I think, for like, there was a bonus or something that he was going to get. He wanted to wait until after that. And I texted him and I think that day he hadn't, but then like a month later or something, I got a text saying that he quit.
Oh, nice.
And I was just so happy.
Nice.
Yeah.
How's he doing now? Do you guys keep track at all?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a long time,
He's probably
but
on an island somewhere, like just
I
off the
hope so.
grid.
But that was like just the most rewarding thing ever.
Very cool.
I mean, it's kind of funny to say it's rewarding to like guide someone to quit their job, like their good job.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was really cool.
But hey, he got his dream.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for your push, probably he would have, then a year later, well, no, maybe let me like one more year. And then, 20 years into it, still one rental,
Right.
still a job.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. And that brings us to an end. This has been another amazing episode of the Freedom Real Estate Podcast. Thank you, Jessie, for coming in. Really appreciate you. All right. See you next week, everybody.